and are forced to think outside the confines and restrictions of what is normal. We are the creators, the writers, the artists, and the insane. Welcome to our Wyrd Realities.
Hey everybody, this is Hadley and I am here for Wyrd Realities. Joining me are Morgana Calder, Jen Sammons, and Joe Hansen. Hey everybody, how are y'all doing?
Hello.
Good. How are you?
Good. Just made it.
Good to see you.
Well, this week has been crazy. I don't know about y'all, but it's like I just feel like I am treading water.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's been busy. Been very, very busy.
I know we were going to record yesterday, and we had some conflicts, and here we are, and be ready for Fringe FM. So.
Yeah, we're not evaluating a movie tonight, are we?
We're not. The guys will be on later to record Shark Week.
Yeah, because if we were, I was going to say I didn't watch it.
Right there with you, Joe.
I have stuff to say about what I watched, but I'll save it for 10.
Yeah, there you go. But
so, what have you guys been up to, and what have you been researching, and what's going on in your worlds?
Well, I've been planning on getting lowballing going again. Because I took a little bit of a hiatus just because summer gets so busy for me, and it's still busy for me. So it's going to be a slow start. But I approached an author this week, Mark Tufo. If you're a zombie fan, you've heard of Mark Tufo, and I asked him to be on the show, and he came back like a typical diva, and said he had some requirements for him to be on the show.
Oh,
so yeah, and we don't usually. Well, Hadley's rich, but the rest of us, we don't have any money to give him, so it has to be other things. So, well, his requests were he needs a full family size bag of peanut butter M&Ms. Okay, I can do that. I think we can all pitch in and get him some peanut butter M&Ms.
Yeah, I'm in for that.
So I'm going to start
for the party size, because the party size is bigger than the family one.
Bigger, okay. So we'll start a GoFundMe for that. Maybe we can get
perfect,
and we can get that going. And then his other request was he wanted an open bar. My house is always an open bar. All he has to do is reach through the screen. So we got that covered. And then he wanted a llama to pet while he was doing the show. Well, my only problem with that is all my llamas are bald.
Because it's so hot this year.
Well, it's a parasite, and they lose all the hair on the top, and it's just not very fun petting a bald llama. So I told him that. I said, all my llamas are bald. Is this going to be a problem? While I was waiting for him to respond, I went out back and I talked to my llamas. And I told them the situation, and they were like, yeah, somebody wants to pet us for an hour. We get the desire. It's kind of sick, but, we'll go with it. And then I told them who it was, and they all of my llamas are now bald alpacas. And they're not llamas. They're not llamas at all anymore, now that Mark Tufo wants to pet them. They're alpacas. So I went back to Mark, and I said, hey, 86 that, Mark. My llamas are now claiming to be alpacas. And Mark came back with, well, I have a cease and desist order with the alpaca union. So he says, that's not going to work. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you, Mark. I said, I tell you what, I got a couple koalas out back. Why don't I send you a couple koala bears? And he came back instantly, and he's like, no koala bears, they're vicious. He said, but if you have a sloth, I can do a sloth. I said, well, we just had a breeding stock. We just had a hatching of a couple dozen sloths back in the other room. So I went back and checked with them, and they're fine with it. So the sloths, I sent them off this morning, and Mark is going to be fine with that. I've started a tracking page for the sloths, but unfortunately, it won't kick in until they get out of my backyard. But it's only been 12 hours. So
When's the shindig supposed to happen?
Well, these sloths are gonna. Well, the shindig's happening on Saturday, but he might not get the sloths for a couple 100 years.
Well,
But-
I have to say,
But I feel
excited.
I'm living up to my end of the bargain there. Because he asked for sloths, I'm sending him sloths. Can it get better than that?
I'm totally impressed with your bargaining finesse.
Me too.
Thank you.
Yes, I think that's just phenomenal.
Well, and I have to say that the first zombie book that I read was Mark Tufo, and he made me a fan because he made me laugh.
He has a genuine connection with the reader, and that's something that can't be developed. That's something that's all natural.
Yes, well, he wrote a series called The Book of Riley, which, if any of y'all know me, I used to have a pit bulldog mix who looked a lot like the dog that he describes in the book, and it's a zombie apocalypse tale from the perspective of the pets. And Riley is the dog, and man, I love that. I made my friend read it. I was in the hospital at the time. We were listening to it on audio, and he's got a guy that reads for him, Sean Renette, and it's just a great package. And so, if you haven't read any, tune in. Mark Tufo is just he's got comedy like I've never seen a writer do.
I've never really met him or spoken to him. Now his wife is the owner of Devil Dog Press, and she's my publisher. And so I've spoken to his wife, but I've never really spoken to Mark. I've had a pretty strong relationship with John O'Brien, who co-wrote a series with Mark, and I've never really spoken to him. So that conversation that I just relayed to you, that actually happened almost word for word.
I believe it.
And after the conversation, I was just like going, this is going to be fun.
Oh yeah. Well, just so y'all know, so it's in the book of Riley, and it's little novellas or little short novellas, and it's it's in his book. It's an American bulldog, a Yorkie, and the family cat, Patches. And he got into the minds of these characters, and I was in stitches. It's some of the funniest reading, and it's horrifying at the same time because the subject matter is zombie apocalypse. But he can make you laugh, and the way he got into that Yorkie's mentality, bacon, 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 was just hysterical. I loved it.
I would like to do more of that myself. I did it a little bit with Cousin or with Sonny, the novel Sonny, but taking an animal's perspective, it's really fun to sit at home in front of your computer and think, how would a dog that knows nothing about this or that or the other thing really view what's happening in front of them, and then try to relate that on paper. And it's fun. It can be fun. It can be very difficult, but it can be fun. And whether you like his work or not, you have to admit he's very talented, and he's not afraid to take the lead.
And I recommend him to anybody that is not a hardcore zombie reader. He's a good jumping off point. I'm not, but I think I read him, and then I read Rich, and the two of them made me really appreciate the genre. But at the time, I was reading a lot of prepper stories and end times kind of stuff, and
which those two get lumped together quite a bit. But there is a huge difference between a prepper story and a zombie story, because in a prepper story, pretty much everybody you meet is going to be bad and it's going to be out for themselves. In a zombie movie, you have the opportunity to meet people who are like-minded, and you have a focused evil that you can fight against.
Yes.
So,
well, it made me, like I said, I started reading. I went through a period where that's all I did was listen to and read zombie books, and it was very therapeutic for me. And I really enjoyed it, but I give credit where credit's due, and that's to Mark and to Rich, and that's how I found Joe's Zombie Rush 1 and 2. I read those, and I don't know how I became friends with Jamie Hernandez, but I think it's because we were writing books at the same time, and she introduced me to Alan, and that's the here we are.
And here we are. Yeah, I don't know. I just wrote Alan's coattails here to your door. Alan knows what a recluse I am. I don't reach out to people. I have to get to know him once or twice before I'll really speak to him. And Alan knows this. I mean, he knows I'm an outgoing guy and everything, but he also knows that I am very private. So he will, if he finds a good group, he'll bring me into it. And he's done this several times before. And then after a while, I'm like, this group is kind of, and he says, yeah, it's getting sour. And then we'll end up both leaving, But Alan and I have been, we've been tight since the start. It's my second book and his first book were released like within a week of each other. And we've been each other's cheerleaders and helpers for, she's coming up on 8 years. I mean, you will never catch me saying anything bad about Alan unless he's there to enjoy it with me.
That matters a lot.
That matters a lot. Jen Salmons, who are you?
She's my true crime girl. She does true crime, the murders, mysteries, and mayhem.
Oh, okay.
You did Ed Kemper with us.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I do remember your face, but that was a while ago.
Those dimples.
Yes. But I remember you
really old.
You are
so
not.
I forget things.
No, it was what I remember from Ed Kemper is you saying, "You don't think you should get out, do you?" No.
No, keep Ed Kemper in jail.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He needs to stay right where he's at. And in fact, he's not even fighting to get out. So he pretty much says, yeah, I'd do it again, kind of thing. So yeah, no, not so much.
He probably gets a lot more attention in prison than he would get if he was out.
That's true.
My wife watches all the crime things and
Dateline.
We have a lot of very sick people in this world, and
yes,
it's
absolutely.
Even some of the dramatizations they have where they're talking about the new date rape drugs and things like that, and it's just like, God damn it, people! It's never been that hard to get laid. It's never been that hard to get laid. Let me say it again. It's easy.
Well, think about it this way. Bill Cosby had a wife. I mean, and he was still drugging people.
He had a wife. He had money. He had
all the women he could want. But he still was drugging.
What the hell? What is up with that? I don't get it.
I actually had someone ask me one time, and it wasn't Cosby, but we were talking about that. I'm like, anytime allegations start coming out, especially about young girls, or teenagers and stuff, I said, that's an immediate stop for me. I will never have anything for you after that. And the person I was speaking to was like, yeah, but he's got money. Why? He can have anybody. Why would he want to do that to somebody? I'm like, you just insulted every young girl that's ever been molested by her rich father or uncle or friend. And you made it sound like it's only guys in our environment that do that kind of thing. I said, money actually gives you a little bit better of a way to get out of stuff.
It's about power and control.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I just kind of thought that was insulting to, the good guys because, he's got money. He'd never force a woman because he could have whoever he wanted.
Right.
Yeah, you totally don't get this.
Hey, Landa.
Hi, Landa. But
okay,
yes.
From a guy's perspective, okay, I've been married. I just had my 36th year anniversary.
Congratulations.
That's an accomplishment.
Thank you. And I've been monogamous with my wife and love her to this very day. And so I don't understand a lot of these thought processes. But okay, what you said about younger women, it's like you see them on TV, and then you see them everywhere on social media and everything. And yeah, they're beautiful, they're gorgeous. But how does someone say of my age, my intellect, sit down with a 15 or 16-year-old girl and have a conversation to the point where it's not totally uncomfortable being around them? I mean, there's nothing in common. There's nothing you grew up with that's the same. There's nothing, it's just people who are doing that are predators of the worst kind. They're as much as somebody who intentionally wants to murder someone. They are predators of that level, because they will sacrifice everything to get that goal, and that goal is pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Jen and I actually had this conversation recently, talking about
Matthew McConaughey. We were saying that line that he has from Dazed and Confused, I think it was.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all saw that, but Dazed and Confused is like, it's a funny movie about some stoners, but he's the guy who's like, he's not in high school anymore, but he's still hanging out with the high school kids. And we all knew that guy.
Yeah.
The creepy guy. And he said, what was it, Jenny?
He said, the thing I love about high school girls is the older I get, they stay the same age, or something like that.
Just something creepy. But
all right.
Right, there you go.
But we were talking about how there's no excuse for a 35-year-old man to date a 17 or 18-year-old girl. That there's just you're at two different places in life.
Okay, in 2007, I had to shut the doors on my sawmill and go out of business because of the economy, and so I went from making hardwood floors and furniture to all of a sudden I'm back in a kitchen. And one reason why I was in restaurants early in life is because it's something you can always fall back on. So I went back to a kitchen to keep paying my bills so I didn't lose my shop, things like that. So anyways, all of a sudden I went from working in a sawmill to working with a bunch of 15, 16-year-old girls. And I got along with them great. And then this girl named Morgan, she goes, do you know what the creep factor is? And I said, oh, there's a creep factor. I said, no. I said, what's a creep factor? She says, well, you take half your age and add 7 years. So it's like, okay, at that time it would have been, I don't know, 30 years old, I think. And I said, yeah. And she goes, you date anything younger than that, you're a creep. And her face was so bald-faced. There's no going past that line. Half your age, add 7 years. Anything younger than that, you're a creep. It's like,
there you go.
There you go. And it seems to work. It seems to work.
Well, we had also mentioned about Anna Nicole Smith and her sugar daddy that she married. Would y'all remember she married that rich Texan old man?
How could you forget? I mean, seriously, like I think everybody remembers that. It was,
and what I told Jennifer is, in that case, you have two adults, because she was in her 20s at that time. And
I think she was even 30 at that point. I mean, she might have been in her 30s.
And he was like 90, but he knew what he knew what she was.
She was such a parody of atypical what society wants to believe is happening, because most things aren't happening that way. I mean, even Hugh Hefner's relationships weren't that way, and his were pretty out there. But she was such a parody of the rich guy getting the teenage girl and then leaving her a fortune, and it wasn't even real. And the fact that of how she died and everything just kind of proves that it just wasn't even real. It was like a comic book playing
Yeah.
a dime store romance novel playing out in real life. You know, I feel sorry for children now, but then they probably have more money than I will ever see ever. So I think they'll get along okay.
Well,
My
unless I
opinion.
win the Mega Millions tomorrow night,
Yeah, I hear it's quite a bit.
1.1 billion.
I got my tickets.
Yeah,
I don't gamble, so that's not going to be me.
Yeah, but I gamble
Yeah,
for you.
I haven't bought tickets in probably 5 years, but 1.1 billion. I think I might spring for. What are they? How much are they tickets?
Like $2 a piece. At least that's
Holy
what they are
crap!
here.
$10.
Yeah.
Well, that's not even a quart of gas. So.
The Powerball when I got mine was it like 130 or 100? It was a bunch. It was over 100 million for the Powerball, and then Mega Millions was over $1 billion.
Yep.
I don't know what that is, but that sounds fun. Boing.
Right?
Oh, that's my messages. This is Ron DeSantis is telling me that all Democrats are evil.
Oh,
I don't know if you knew
lovely.
that.
We can be.
I'm a non-party person.
It's so funny. I was an Obama Democrat.
Mhm.
Now I'm considered a racist Republican. So I don't know. Who knows?
Now there's still Republicans that aren't racist, so you don't have to be that.
Yeah,
be
well,
regular
I'm a white male. Come on, man. I don't have a chance. I don't have a chance of being different.
I
just
think
like all
that
of them.
the party system doesn't work, and we need to move on, find something different.
Yeah, I've always voted by the man. I voted
Yep.
Republican, Democrat, Independent. It is what it
Vote
is.
your conscience.
If I talk about it, it's what others perceive me to be because, they don't have a clue as to what I'm thinking.
Well, I always get tickled because everybody thinks that I'm what they are. And I just let them think that because, like I said, I'm really not. I'm very, very much. It's not working. We need to try something new. So,
Yeah.
but we don't talk about politics here. So,
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say let's move on from this.
Let's move on. Sorry if I was the one that brought it up.
Oh, that's okay. Totally fine. I was gonna ask about if you guys have watched the special, since we were talking about older men and younger women, the Woody Allen, or actually it was Pharaoh versus Allen. Or it was on HBO. It was like it was kind of like a mini series. That's the only way I can describe it. Anyway, it was several nights. I think it was 3 or 4. And basically it was from the viewpoint of the daughter who decided that she was going to, as an adult, talk about what happened with her.
Because she was the adopted daughter and ended up starting a romantic relationship with Woody.
She's actually still with him.
18.
You're talking about Sun Yi.
Right.
Okay, but the daughter that he had, he was
this is
accused
like his
of
daughter
molesting.
by blood, right?
Actually, no, she's also adopted. He wanted to adopt her. He didn't adopt Sun Yi, but he was the father figure in the house, if that kind of helps you.
Okay.
But he's actually still with Sun Yi and they have children. But the younger daughter, they look a lot alike, even though they're not related. I don't know if you've seen him. Oh gosh, what's his last name? His first name, Pharaoh. He's the one that did the Me Too movement and all that.
It's Frank Sinatra's son.
Yes, I'm pretty sure it's Frank Sinatra. He looks just like him. It's insane how much they look alike. And
I'm not really familiar with it, so
it's supposedly Woody Allen's child. Absolutely, it's supposed to be his child. And he doesn't have a relationship with him because his sister, that was about the same age, said that Woody Allen had abused her up in their attic. And she described everything that was up there. Her story stayed consistent pretty much from the day that she said it. And anyway, my point of it was that was not even the point of it. My point was that almost every movie he made was about older men with younger women, and he was the star of the show.
Yeah.
So it's like he was. It's almost like he was telling on himself, kind of like R. Kelly did with his video. Like, like there's things that people do, and it's like they were being pretty blatant about it. Actually, you know,
if somebody shows you their true self, believe them.
Right?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I thought of. Yes, I thought of exactly that. I was like, they kind of tell you who they are, and we just don't want to think it's that.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There's very few subjects where I draw a line in the sand and say, do not go beyond this point, you know, or I have a problem with it. And when it comes to that whole pedophilia thing, I've got a definite line in the sand where, you know, it's you do not go beyond this point.
Yep.
And you know, I mean,
As it
conversation is
should be.
fine.
Everyone should have
And
that
it
line.
should be. You know,
Yeah.
people that are not abusive can't imagine doing that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's you go, no, you almost go into your own version of denial about it because it's like
Right.
I could never do something like that. What in the world could that person have been thinking? How gross that is. But yeah, I'm with you. And I can't work with them in my
Well, and the fact
work
that
either, so.
you're potentially ruining someone's life who has a lot more life ahead of them than you do to satisfy one of the most basic urges. I mean, come on.
Well, and some people would say that is their urge to be with, you know, children.
Well, it's just such a huge problem with you have people who are victimized who then become the offenders, and there's this whole sick wheel that just keeps going on and on.
A vast majority don't, though.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
The vast majority do
I am not a mental
themselves.
health professional. I am an armchair
No,
professional.
the recent study coming out says that most become very very pious about touching and sex and are very aware and probably overly aware of things. So you know, in a sense, you know, I agree. There's one girl, Marion Zimmer Bradley, I believe, was her mother. But both her mother and she's out there now. Moira Grayland or something like that is her name. And Marion Zimmer Bradley was her mother, and her mother and father were not only homosexual, but they were pedophiles. And she talks about the horror that she grew up under, and she is, I guess you would call her, I don't want to use the term normal, but probably straight laced, you know, does things according to the law and what have you now, and really hates the fact that she was subjected to what she was subjected by her parents and speaks out about it often. So, you know, and that reinforces what you were saying about most of them don't reoffend and become reoffenders, but you know, some do.
And actually, they advocate most of, like, it's kind of like people that are huge advocates are oftentimes have been victims themselves. Yeah. You know, that are saying this is not okay and that's inappropriate behavior to do with your child or whatever it is. And, you know, I mean, there's a lot of sick people out there. That's very true. And some do go on to reoffend themselves, but a vast majority do not.
Now, what was that next subject we were talking about? You had it. Hadley. Go.
Hadley.
Yes.
What's our subject?
Well, I had gotten a couple of articles from the news just to kind of go over. My favorite was Florida Man. Florida Man's at it again.
Oh, cool. Let's hear it.
So, let me see. Sorry, it's going to take me a minute to pull it up because I want to read it because I don't want to get it wrong.
Yeah, getting it wrong at this point would be really bad. I would hate to think.
Well, it was a burglary suspect that got pulled over after he tried to carjack someone. And when they pulled him over, they found a 3.5-foot alligator in the back seat of his car. So
I have to
Why?
wonder, was he aware that it was
yes,
back there?
yes, he was taking. Apparently, he had decided that on the way to release the alligator to the wild, he'd gotten the alligator. The neighbor wanted it removed, so he was taking it to relocate it. And he decided that he didn't want to take his vehicle, so he was going to steal a truck or something. I don't know. Who knows what Florida man was thinking? But it was great. And I love to read Florida man stories because they just always involve an alligator or something mess or something crazy, eating faces. But yeah, so that was one of mine. The others, what were they? Well, the interesting news that I found was on the BBC. They reported that they have cured HIV in 4 patients.
I saw that.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting that, let's see, a man who's lived with HIV since the 1980s seems to have been cured in only the 4th such case. He was given a bone marrow transplant to treat blood cancer leukemia from a donor who is naturally resistant to the virus. And the man was 66 years old, does not want to be identified, and he has stopped taking his HIV medication completely.
Cool.
Wow, that's phenomenal.
It is. And I don't know if y'all knew this, but a couple of years ago, it was cured in a child in Mississippi at the hospital local to Jackson.
Okay. Do you guys remember when Charlie Sheen was diagnosed with it?
Yes.
And that doctor that worked with him, and the doctor was actually on Bill Maher. And he actually took Charlie Sheen's blood and put it in himself and said, "See, I'm not scared. I know I have immunity."
That was who did that?
The doctor that was working with Charlie Sheen.
Well,
And there's nothing Charlie Sheen's has that I put in my body.
Exactly. Everybody felt the same way you did.
Blood? I mean,
everybody felt the same exact way that you're speaking of. I mean, I'm not kidding you. He literally took his blood and put it in him, and I was like, "Wait, what? Like, what is he doing? Is he crazy? Like, you don't even know half of what he's done because we don't."
That's obscene. That's like begging for Hep C at least.
Well,
exactly. Biohazard.
And I'm telling you, he said, "I'm telling you, I can help you, and I am going to cure you." Now, this was, I'm trying to think how long ago, because it was probably 5 years ago. I mean, I haven't seen that doctor again.
Well, no, the Charlie Sheen stuff, the tiger blood and all that had to be around like, what, 2012, 2010, that time period?
Yeah.
So yeah,
it was when he was doing the, like, I'm winning. I'm winning.
Winning. It was the bipolar winning.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, I was like, but then he got the diagnosis of HIV, and it's like it slowed him down. You could tell he was not well when they did like this interview with him. And I was
Charlie
like,
Sheen?
"Oh, yeah." He looked really sick. And then I was like, "Oh, he's on his last leg." Well, this doctor, and I'm going to have to find it. But basically, he was like, what I did was I did research, and I found that places that they should be having, like, I think it was like Brazil, let's just say, or Spain. I don't know. Anyway, wherever it was, he was like, there was something in the milk of the goats that gave immunity towards this, because he said there should have been rampant HIV in this area, but it was like the one area that it wasn't happening in the world. So I wanted to figure out what is it that they're doing that other places are not. And that's what they came up with.
Goat's milk.
It was some sort of like goat's milk or yes.
Interesting. Very.
I know, but I haven't heard any more about it, and I don't know. Charlie Sheen is still alive, correct?
Well, I mean, I can go off on a rabbit hole about the pharmaceutical companies.
But that's not fair that he's still alive if he has HIV. I mean, how many years can you be throwing your sausage down any hallway you want and you
Well,
come
what
out
about
of it
Magic Johnson?
clean?
Isn't he still alive?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah,
Well,
but
now
he's
they have
not
medicine that make it almost undetectable in your system.
Right.
I mean, it's not that they've cured them. As long as they take the medicine, they're fine. But they have medicines right now that make it so you basically won't show up as HIV positive.
Mhm. Well, that's the same. I had a blood transfusion while my son was born, and it was back before they actually had a Hep C. So they did not test for it and ended up getting it. And when I went through treatment, there was no cure for Hep C, but they could do, like you're saying, get the count down so low that it wasn't detectable, and then it would stop further damage on your body. And I've been 22 years now. And, you know, I still have I think it's a 3% chance of recurrence, but it never has. But because it was the type of treatment that I had, it's still not considered a cure. It's considered remission.
Okay.
you.
The guy's name is Chachoua. It's Chachoua, and Charlie Sheen is now denouncing him.
Charlie Sheen is now denouncing him. Okay.
Yes. So I don't know.
Okay, Charlie Sheen, doctor, cured AIDS.
Yep.
You guys have
There's
a
all
lot
kinds
of
of
energy.
articles, and
to
this
do
all
that.
came out in 2016. It looks like.
I think it's interesting that we all have such varied interest. Because this is not in my wheelhouse.
No, never mind. I'll talk about anything though.
But no, the other stuff that I had was the Denver airport, and that there was a lot of conspiracy surrounding it. And then there's the opposite end, which is just an airport, which I don't know if y'all are familiar with any of that. I thought that the Denver airport was linked to the Georgia Guidestones, which have now been blown up. But again, it's not really my wheelhouse. So
Yeah, I've
No,
heard
they
a lot
were-
of things. Go ahead, Joe.
Were they were intentionally blown up now, weren't they? The Georgia Guidestones?
yes.
Okay. They were bomb and okay. Sorry, I didn't read too much on it because I've been
Yeah.
building this shop out in my backyard. I've been busy.
And then the fourth thing was that there was a house. Did I tell you what was it? I told y'all it was a house.
I thought it was the DNA thing.
House Intelligence Committee member warns people not to share health data with sites like 23andMe because it can be used to program new bioweapons to target them. That's kind of concerning to me. And this comes from U.S. Representative Jason Crow, who warned that bioweapons are being made that use the target's DNA to only kill that person. And this was something he told people during the Aspen Security Forum last Friday, or I guess on Friday. The congressman said that the development of these weapons is worrisome because of the popularity of these DNA testing websites.
So being killed with a bullet with your name on it is worse than getting killed by a bullet without your name on it. I mean, who's going to spend the time and money to get a bullet with your name on it? I don't see the reason to be afraid of that or even to take it into consideration. Unless they can fire it from anywhere in the world, then it will travel the world and come and find you. I mean, that would be.
I'm thinking it's
really
more like
cool, but
creating viruses that target specific types.
Okay.
Maybe genetic types.
People with brown eyes.
Well, I mean, I would say, like, I know when COVID started, there was a lot of question about blood types. Like, certain blood types seem to be more impacted than others. And do y'all remember that? Am I just the only one who remembers that?
No, remember. I know.
Yeah.
But,
See, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, like, For me, I'm an AB positive blood type, and AB blood type created itself. They don't know where it came from. So they think that it was created when B type blood from like the Mongols, when I guess it was Genghis Khan was conquering the world, that there was a lot of rapes. And so they think that's when it created, when the B types were raping the A types, and it created the AB types. But was it the A type blood was more susceptible to COVID, or was it?
Or no, actually it was A. You're right.
Yeah, and then I think like the Rh negative factors, those people, they didn't have a problem with it. But anyway, so they could take genetic information like that and target stuff. But it's very interesting. But I remember back, I think I was telling y'all this earlier, that I think it was 2016, 2017, there was some leak of medical records from Medicare and Medicaid that was linked with some kind of studies that were being conducted by Russia and China scientists. And so there was a big problem with all of that. And I think it's all connected with this. Because I remember at work, the nurses and doctors that I work with telling me, don't share your medical information, your DNA, with those websites. So.
You're late.
Well, and I know the guys over at Wearing the Folk are always getting on my ass about it, but they also were talking about the fact, and I started paying attention. You almost never see commercials for those tests anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's like they just quit advertising for them.
Well, and now when you do the test, there's certain they can tell you, like, if you're if you're more susceptible for certain types of diseases and stuff, and you can actually add on like a health thing to yours. Because I actually do have one. I've done my DNA through Ancestry. Not that it's any safer than 23andMe.
I was going to say mine's through 23andMe.
So, and there's a lot of other ones, but again, it's just a matter of how confident you feel they're going to target you. I guess I'm just going to have to take it. I'm going to have to take a chance, because I love the mystery that is solved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I put it kind of in that same category. A friend had posted a picture of him and his buddy, and between them, they had probably 200 guns and God knows how much ammunition. And I'm like, why? Just one. I've got to ask why. And the guy's answer was, so if the government comes for me, I'm like, you do know that they can like target you from thousands of miles away and never come near you, and you won't even know it's coming, right? So, I mean, I guess, I kind of look at it a little bit like that. I'm like, Joe, I don't think I'm important enough for that one bullet.
Yeah, that's me.
I mean,
I can't see anybody making a bullet just for me. It's like, wow, if I piss someone off that much, I'm in the wrong business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at times my goal has been to piss somebody off that much, but I'm one person.
I mean, I do believe in having guns for protection.
Oh yeah, me too.
Showing 200 of them, that's just
silly.
Well, I mean,
braggadocio.
This gets into that. What you can, I mean, how much do you let other people dictate what you publish on social media? Like, I had a friend who just got back from a trip to Africa. They went on a hunting trip with their husband. They're avid hunters. Every picture was something dead. And I mean, I wouldn't have posted that, but I'm not an avid hunter. That's just not my thing. I have guns.
I don't hunt. I like to shoot. I don't hunt.
Yeah.
I'm okay with people that hunt for food. I have a serious issue with game hunting.
Go right ahead.
Mm-hmm.
It's not my thing. I'm not. Yeah. I grew up with people hunting. My dad grew up where, I mean, what he killed fed the family.
Yeah, doesn't bother me a bit.
Yeah, but But I mean, so it's not my thing. That's not what I'm going to spend my money on. I'm not going to go. If I go on a trip to Africa, I would love to go see the animals.
Mhm.
You know,
Well, I'd be shooting with my camera.
yeah.
So
I grew up in Minneapolis, and the hunting on this neighborhood streets in Minneapolis was frowned on. So,
yeah.
but we had lots of lakes. We were known as the city of lakes, so I did a lot
Mm-hmm.
of fishing, and you could eat all that you wanted.
And see, I've got a friend that won't fish because she saw a Twilight Zone episode. I swear.
People are great when you don't want to kill them. But yes, Joe, I'm the same way. I do not have a problem with with guns for protection. But like I said, to me, that was, why do you want people to know you have that many guns?
That's the valid point right there, isn't it?
You know, I mean, you're making yourself a
Why
target.
advertise? You know.
Well, you know, when my dad passed away, he left me all of his guns, so I've got like 30 guns because I've got his collection, and I was asking on social media, which at the time I just had people I knew personally on my social media account. It's changed since I've been, become an author, but I had posted on there if someone could help me clean them because I don't know the first thing about guns, to be honest. I mean, I know how to shoot, but that's about it. I don't know how to clean it or anything. And this guy wrote me. He said, "Hey," he goes, I don't want to get you worried, but you don't need to post that. You don't want people knowing you've got all those guns at your house." And I had not thought about it. And he's like, people will come over and steal from you,
Yeah.
And I had not thought about that, but it's just one of those things that you have to be real careful about what you do post on social media.
How are you about people from social media coming over to your house?
I don't let anybody. Joe, I am the anti-social
I am not cool with
person.
that at all.
Hey, Joe, she says that, but guess how we met?
You didn't come to my house, though. I met you out in public.
That's
I
true. The
believe
first
her
time we
because
did.
I'm not even allowed to go visit yet.
I met up with a lot of people from online,
Mhm.
like Lundy and Jailborn and Allen, but we went 1,000 miles away from home.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, like I said, the first time we met, it was definitely in a public venue, because my husband was very worried about me going to meet strangers.
But no, I'm very cautious.
Have you guys ever heard of Minnesota Nice? Minnesota Nice is people in Minnesota are known to be very nice. Not Canadian nice, but nice nonetheless. But the definition of that is you can ask any direction you want in Minnesota, and people will tell you exactly how to get there, except for their own home. It's like, where's the drugstore? Go 2 blocks down, take a left, go a half block, cut through the alley, and it's right in front of you. Oh, where do you live? Well, I'm south of town a bit.
I love it.
Yep, that's awesome. That's awesome.
Well, no, I'm one of those people. I live with a bunch of animals. I have 3 big dogs, and I had a friend come over to my house one time, and the next time she came, she brought like a sweater to change into because she didn't want to get the dog hair on her. I never invited her back over. This is their house. If they're not comfortable and if you're going to make me anxious because of your whatever with the dog hair, don't bother coming.
Yeah.
But I think people should call before they drop by. You don't know what somebody's doing. And if someone doesn't call and just stops by, I'm not sure if I'll answer the door.
Yeah, hey, right there with you. Right there with you. That's somebody today stopped me and says, "You've got fur." And start picking off the back of my shirt. I'm like, "Oh, this looks great. It's not covered."
Well, it was worse when I had the cats because I like to wear black clothes and the white cat liked to lay on everything.
Oh yes, I remember.
I know.
So,
I don't have a doorbell on my house because I figure if they know me, they can call me and I'll come down to the door. Everybody's got a phone now. Joe, I'm out front. Okay, I'm coming down.
Hey, I'm going to tell
Jehovah's
you.
Witnesses knocking.
Talking about weird news, and I forget where I heard it from, but somebody showed it to me last week. Somebody had broken into another person's house, got caught. The guy beat the hell out of him. And he turned around and sued because he had a welcome mat, and I thought I was welcome to come in.
I've read that. Well, that's why they say if someone breaks into your house, you kill them.
That's right.
Yeah.
No witnesses.
No lawsuit.
That's right. There you go. That's exactly right.
Yeah, I saw the article the other day where the guy was upset that his nephew got shot while breaking into someone's house, and he said that guy in the house had an AR-15. It just wasn't fair. It's like, what are you thinking? This isn't a contest. This is a criminal breaking into your house. It's not a contest.
Hey, Tony. No,
Tony, that Boudreaux is the worst little. I got words for y'all with that dog. He's a handful. Hey, Lee.
Okay, I'm going to tell y'all a really depressing one. It's horrible. I know, Hadley, I know you and I have talked about it, but someone dropped a puppy in my yard that had been attacked multiple times by another animal. I mean,
didn't we talk about this last week?
We may have. We
did.
How's the puppy doing?
She's doing good. She looks terrible. My granddaughter was here last week, and she's sitting there petting her, and she goes, Gigi, she looks so bad. I'm like, she does. I said, but she's getting better, but she looks like a zombie puppy. And I'm like, that's a very accurate description. So, I mean, but she is doing better. She's eating well and everything. Well, someone in my neighborhood happened to know who this person was and knew the date that the puppy had been born. So now we have an age and knew what the parents were. So now we know that. But there were 3 puppies born. She also dumped one of the puppies in someone else's yard. But that one was not hurt like this one was. And I was told today that the 3rd one was drugged and buried alive.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know. I'm glad she left the neighborhood, because I would probably be sitting in jail right now. I mean, you can do a lot of things. Don't hurt old people, children, and pets. Those 3 are sacrosanct in my world. You just don't. And it made me sick to my stomach when I was told that.
Well, I've got better news than that.
Good.
So let's reel it back up.
Okay.
So we're getting close to our hour, so I'm going to start breaking bad on some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So we are getting ready for, we're going to start doing a monthly Weird Murders, Mysteries, and Mayhem with Miss Jen Salmons and Scott Baker, and Morgana and I will sit in when we can. The first one that we're going to do in August is going to be the Jfk Assassination and Conspiracy. And I'm super excited to tell y'all that retired New York police detective and author Vic Ferrari is going to come on the show and talk about it with us. So that should be fun. Mm-hmm. He's a lot of fun.
Cool.
So, Jen, you want to tell us what we can expect with that?
Oh, we're going to talk about conspiracy theories, and we're going to talk about the magic bullet, and we'll probably go into a little bit of the Oliver Stone movie. And actually, he did a follow-up. I don't know if you saw it, but I haven't watched all of it yet. But he did like a follow-up show on that night. It was either on Netflix or HBO, and I can't remember which one. But Oliver Stone basically like followed up with JFK. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but I'll find it and I'll tell you guys before the end of this show. How's that sound?
Awesome.
But that's what we're doing next.
This weekend, Joe's going to be recording with Mark Tufo, which I'm real excited about. Morgana, what you got going on this weekend?
We are talking about the Fae on Friday night on Awakenings, and I'm thinking probably jumping over with the Wearing the Folks guys for Saturday. They're doing what, Mythos and something.
The Fae. What about the Fae?
Just in general. I mean, we're talking about just the Fae in general.
You ought to let Joe come jump on.
Absolutely. You are more than welcome to join us Friday night.
My next novel is The Return of the Fae. So.
Oh, awesome.
I might pop up too because I'm working on some stuff. That'll be fun. What else?
Okay, this is the name of it. It's JFK Revisited Through the Looking Glass. came out in 2021.
Okay.
JFK, was he involved in Black Lives Matter?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
I don't know. He could still be in the background somewhere and just faked his death.
There you go.
Well, when we go off into the QAnon stuff, I just can't go there. Let's not do that.
Good.
If we started going down that rabbit hole, I'd have to get off.
Okay. In collaboration with Horror Writers Inc., Watching Wyrd will be hosting an author discussion on some panels for some new streaming series. Last night kicked off the first one with Resident Evil, and I believe Bethany Stutzman and Sylvester Barzy joined Rich and Scott on that. Alan Gamboa is going to be kicking off a panel on Netflix's Sandman series. Yours truly is going to be dissecting that whole House of Dragons on HBO Max. And then Rich is going to be doing a panel with some authors on the Rings of Power. That's the Tolkien. I think Tolkien's son wrote it, but it's a new series on Amazon Prime. So, also got some new releases announcement. Featured author at Horror Writers Inc., Mike Evans, is releasing All or Nothing, a Charlie Ford Caribbean Keys thriller on the 5th. Sean Little's Gold Blood Book 4 of the Changed series is dropping. And then our very own Scott Baker's The Ghost of the Maria Doris will be released on August 19th. Looking forward to all three of those. Those will be pretty good. I'm really excited about Scott's. I got a peek at his upcoming release, and it looks really good. Which, if y'all haven't checked out those, I think it's The Ghost of Salem Village and The Ghost of... I can't think of the other one. Anyway, he's got this whole paranormal series with Tatiana and Nick that's pretty good.
I've got that downloaded.
And Tully and Cecil, our partners over at Where in the Folk, are going to be discussing the myths surrounding soul selling. It's a myth in history. I'm really interested in that since Morgana and I live here where Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil at the crossroads to play the blues. We're all in on that. So tune in. You might catch us. Y'all know that we're partnered with Where in the Folk, so everybody on our team has always got an open door there, so you might catch us, you might not. But
JFK Revisited is also on Showtime. My apologies. I said HBO.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, ma'am.
And Morgana, I'm going to go ahead and do a real quick list of what you got coming up in August on Weird Awakening since I've got it in front of me.
Mm-hmm, sure.
So you're going to kick off the month with the Fae. Then there's going to be the next episode, I think, is going to be the Green Children of Woolpit. Mm-hmm. Then y'all are going to dive deep into ancient Egypt, Jack the Ripper, and color psychology. Not all together. Those will be 1 week at a time.
Yes.
So save the date every Friday starting at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. You can join Morgana. Again, open door policy with the rest of the weird kids. As always, our friends Stephen Hill and Henry Tully and Cecil Fletcher from Where in the Folk. So y'all be sure and check out all the stuff we've got going on. And tonight, Thursday, we're a little bit skewed this week, but we have our Watching Weird show, and we are doing Shark Week. So stay tuned. We'll be back in about an hour.
Night.
Until then, next time, stay weird, guys.
Adios.